All right, so now we're going to assemble your scuba unit. The first thing that you're going to need is a tank. This isn't a scuba tank. It's referred to as an aluminum 80. It's made out of aluminum. There are also steel tanks, and this holds 80 cubic feet of 1 atmosphere gas at its operating pressure of 3,000 psi. The next thing that you're going to need to assemble your scuba unit is your buoyancy compensator. That is this. Now they come in different configurations, but this particular configuration that we're going to use in class is a back plate with a continuous weave harness, and this is your air cell. So when you get this out of the locker, or wherever you happen to find it when you show up for class, you're first going to have to release this buckle that's secured behind it, because it's all bound up so it can be nice and tidy when it's hanging in the locker. So you're going to release that, and then pull out the straps that go around your waist. Now, there are some stainless steel loops down here on the bottom where the harness runs so that it is infinitely adjustable. However, you are going to have to release these buckles to allow it to run. All right? Now, one of the first things that you're going to do when you're setting this up is to set the harness where you need it to be. So what you can do is go ahead and put the BC on your body, like so. Then you can pull these straps in until it's nice and snug, and this back plate should be riding high on your back. You should be able to reach back and touch the top of the plate right behind your head. But pull this in until it's snug, and then you take this buckle and slide it back and close it right there. And you're going to do that on the other side as well. That locks this shoulder strap in place so that it's not going to go anywhere. Then, in order to get out of it, just pull it over your shoulders like so, and it'll slide right down. Right? Now, in order to mount this on the tank, you've got 2 tank straps here on the back. Now, whenever you're putting these straps down over the top of a scuba tank, you always want to support the BC with one hand while you manipulate the tank straps with the other. So you're going to drop these straps over the cylinder, and you'll work them down like so. And then once you have it at the right height, now you can see where this air cell, the way it's shaped, so it conforms to the shoulder of the tank right here. You want to make sure that it's down on that, and then you want to make sure that the face of the valve right here, where the air comes out, is in a line with the center of the back plate. There's a channel that runs down the center of the back plate, so just sight down it and make sure that it is straight and aligned with the front of the valve. That's important, otherwise your regulator will be kicked out at an odd angle. Then, once you have it in the right spot, you close the cams. All right, that goes through there. You can use that as a lever, snatch it shut, just like that, nothing to it. Then, let's look at the front here. All right, this is how you blow up your air cell. This is your inflator. Now there are 2 buttons. This button on the end of the hose here, the button on the end, you push that and it opens a valve. If there's air in the air cell and you push this button, air can come out. Or you can blow into the mouthpiece to inflate the air cell, like so. Just like that. Or, hopefully you heard that air come out. Keep in mind, air goes up. So if you are head up vertical in the water and you want to let the air out of the air cell so that you can sink, this has to be up and the hose has to be straight. So you've got to hold this way up above your head. However, there is a lower dump right here, and you activate this by pulling this toggle here. You pull this toggle, valve opens, air comes out. Thing is this only lets air out if you're upside down. If you're head down vertical, then pulling this will dump the air cell. But if you're head up, well, air goes up, right? So pulling this isn't going to do anything. If you're head down vertical, pointing this at the bottom and pushing the button isn't going to do anything, all right? So think about that. All right, the next thing that you're going to attach to your Scuba unit is your regulator. Now, your regulator has a first stage. This is the part that attaches to the tank valve. This is your yoke. This is the yoke screw. This is a yoke style valve. These things have to agree and mate up. Now, if you'll look down inside the yoke, you'll see an orifice where air goes into the first stage regulator. You want to make sure that the hole in the face of the tank valve mates up to the hole in the regulator where the air goes in. Air comes out of here and goes into here. So pay attention and get those in the right spot, because sometimes people put them together incorrectly. All right, so the yoke settles right down over the post. The orifice on the first stage mates up to the orifice on the tank valve, and then the yoke screw gets snugged up right on the back of the post here. Just finger tight. Don't over tighten it or you'll crush the O-ring. There's an O-ring in here that has to be present and in good shape in order to seal up the regulator and keep bubbles from occurring. You also have two second stage regulators. Now, these are essentially the same. They do the same thing. They're second stage regulators because they're the second stage of pressure reduction. They're reducing the tank pressure, which starts out at 3,000 psi, down to ambient pressure so that you can breathe it. You take the yellow one and it attaches, it attaches to an octo holder here on this D-ring that is on your right chest. I'm missing that, but I guess I'll have to show you that later. This is your primary. The primary regulator is the one that's in your mouth and that you're breathing on all the time, right? So the parts of this that you have to remember are the mouthpiece. Guess where that goes? On the front of the regulator, you have a purge valve. If you push this, when the air is on, air comes out of the regulator without having to breathe on it. You also have a couple of adjustments over here on this side of the regulator. You have a dial of breath that can decrease or increase breathing resistance. You have a flow vane here that assists the direction of flow of the air coming out of the regulator, and if it is in the pre-dive mode, it causes turbulence that prevents the regulator from free flowing. If it's in the dive mode, it directs the air right out of the mouthpiece and makes it easier to breathe, but it also predisposes the second stage to free flow, which is bad, and you want to avoid that. Let's leave this alone for right now. The next thing I want to draw your attention to is your inflator width, right? Now this is a quick connect fitting, And though some people try to screw it on, it doesn't screw. It's a spring-loaded collar on the end of this fitting, and when you pull it back, you push this down on the male fitting here on the inflator. When you make these together, you can inflate your BC with air from your scuba tank. So you pull this back, and then you slide it on to the male end of the fitting, push hard, and then let the collar pop into place. Okay, just like that. Now when it is on correctly, you're not going to be able to pull it back off again. Okay, you also have your submersible pressure gauge, or SPG. This thing reads the amount of pressure in the tank, and you use this to make sure that you don't run out of air when you're underwater. What you want to do, however, is check it and make sure that it is on 0, and it is. And then you point it at the deck because you're getting ready to expose it to tank pressure. If it were to pop, you wouldn't want that to happen when you were steering it. Then you're going to open the tank valve all the way, but don't jam it open. Just open it until it gently stops, and then you stop. Then check the pressure gauge to see that you in fact have pressure. This one's reading 2,000 psi, so the tank isn't full. It's only 2/3 full. Right? So the pressure gauge is going to clip off to a D-ring right here. Right? Actually, this hose gets routed through this D-ring right here. That keeps it from flying away. All right, now you have assembled your scuba unit. Thanks for watching.